guys, thanks for coming back and joining me for another video. So Mimi strikes again, and she certainly has. So Harry and Meghan have arrived on UK soil as part of this fake royal tour. It's not a royal tour because they're no longer full-time working royals. They're not representing the Queen. They're not in fact representing anyone other than themselves. But the newspapers will do it. I think they do it as a bit of a clickbait to wind people up, and people are already wound up with Harry and Meghan. So they have released a story, I'm presuming it's their PR, saying they flew by commercial. I, like most other people, if there are no pictures, I don't believe it. My gut feeling is they arrived as they did when they came over for the Jubilee, and that is to Farnborough Airport, which I used to live up in Aldershot. So I've been to that airport, been to a couple of air shows and stuff. Trust me, that is a private jet runway more than anything. It is big money landing there on a regular basis. So that's what I truly believe that they did, because there's just no way that Harry and Meghan are going to fly commercial. So naturally, with this private visit, you know, the security conscious couple, just happened that a paparazzi was waiting at a side entrance at Euston train station just to capture the moment that Harry and Meghan arrived with their entourage and were getting out of the vehicle. The guy in the yellow shirt, whose face has been covered, represents everyone. No one gives a shit. Pardon for swearing, but it's true. No one cares. And there's even a woman on her phone as they walk by. So that tells you absolutely everything. Harry and Meghan, whilst there's this big drama that they make, it's so over the top now, it's absolutely ridiculous. I've said yesterday that I think the Queen herself doesn't make anywhere near as much fuss when she is travelling around. It's just to the point, it's bizarre. But the Metropolitan Police are not covering it. It is their own private security protection, so as long as they're paying for it, I don't really care. But Meghan from behind, and this isn't anything to do with her bottom, but she just looks like a Kardashian. I actually said, I posted on Twitter saying, it looks like Kim K from the back. And someone corrected me and said, Kim Kardashian would never look that unpolished. Whilst I'm not a massive fan of Kim's fashion choices, she is always preened to the absolute level of shiny, perfect, pressed when she walks out the door, even if it is just in duct tape. So Meghan has obviously had a quick change on the train, and the fact they caught a train was just, Harry and Meghan are catching a train and not a helicopter to Manchester. And as that came out on social media, someone again reminded me, well, Catherine recently, didn't she, with the Commonwealth Games, she caught the train, and there was a nice story that came out that she was chatting to a little boy who she thought she was lost. So it makes you think, oh yeah, that's why they've caught the train. There's always going to be a reason behind it, isn't it? Because they're trying to be down to earth. They flew commercial, they caught the train. But the simple fact is, as you can see, this, I think he's ex-Met Police that they've hired, like Charles used to hire for Camilla, and he is demoted to a handbag carrier. It always makes me cringe. I think even if I won the lottery, even if I became super rich, I would carry my own bloody bag. It's just like when the people run around, they've got a brolly up for them. Hold an umbrella, you've got a hand, you've got an arm. So Meghan's new outfit that she changed into on the train, I dread to think how they did that, probably closed off the entire train. It suited her. I'm not a massive fan of the all-in-one pantsuits. I like a little bit of like a break in between, like a pop of a different sort of colour. But she looks good. She just looks polished for a change. She actually looks like she's got tailored clothes that fit her. It's the right length, unlike the trousers that she got out the taxi with. She looked really, really nice. However, and I know which way some people are going to take this, and if you're going to take it that way, you really shouldn't be watching my channel. But can we just talk about the level of tan? She looked like she was dipped in creosote, a shade of Ronsil fencing panels. She literally looks like she hasn't gone for a spray tan. She's been spray painted. A few people mentioned the Ross from Friends on social media and various other memes that kind of did a float around. Now, the thing is here, and I know some people scream racism, Meghan is biracial, and she's obviously going to, you know, change. She's in California now compared to when she was in the UK. But this is when Meghan was in Toronto. Meghan was obviously travelling a lot. She was going on these luxury holidays with her friends. This is her stood next to a very blonde Misha Nunu, and then with Marcus Anderson and with Jessica Mulroney. It's from her Instagram account and when she was Suits. So this is all fairly recent pictures. in the run up to her dating Harry. And there is one great big pointer to Meghan being covered in spray tan and bronzer, is the simple fact that her parting that she insists on wearing, that very harsh centre parting, it's as white as her teeth. So it looks like a skunk stripe that she's got, or she's got thick silver grey hair and she's just letting her roots grow through. And as JR posted on Twitter, the key is to blend. Blend. If you're going to fake tan, remember to do your hairline. Otherwise, it's just going to look like you've got a bit of Tipp-Ex and drawn a line down the middle. So Meghan and Harry arrived at the Manchester venue, sending a decoy car in at first. I mean, what do they think they are, the President and the First Lady? And they had cleared a lot of the area. They are allowed to do this even though it's a private security firm, because it is to do with the venue. It's the same as film crews and stuff can shut down streets if they get permission from the council and the venue beforehand. So they have tried to clearly do crowd management for obvious reasons, but 100-strong crowd were still roughly there and the majority of them booed. They booed so loudly, Meghan's jaw near enough broke in half as she heard them as she exited the vehicle. There were quite a few people there. One woman in particular had a I'm a fraud t-shirt and was hugging her Tom Bowers book. And I'm not going to show her picture because the sad thing is the Sussex squad will now probably try and hunt that woman down and try and destroy her life, because that is Harry and Meghan's fan base, which they still to this day do not call out. They did seem to clear the crowds when they left, however, because there were a few more people screaming. So they obviously got, right, you can go. Anyone that's booed, you're out. And they left a few of the Sussex squad members in there. The same ones that we see appear at most of Harry and Meghan's events now. They seem to follow them around the world like groupies or, you know, paid staff members. Now, the speech itself, of course, it didn't disappoint. It was the Meghan show. It was the Mimi show. She couldn't help herself. The body language guy pointed out in a tweet, which the Daily Mail picked up, see the yellow? This is all the time she referenced herself. I'm going to read you a segment of it in a minute. Just, you've got to hear it for yourself, but you're going to hear my voice and not Meghan's because I'm in a nice mood. But 54 times in a 7-minute speech. And the speech, well, I'll just let you guys be the decider on this one. So Meghan starts talking about when she joined One Young World in 2014. And at that dinner, there was about 20 to 30 of us for the council. And I was there. I was the girl from Suits, and I was surrounded by world leaders, humanitarians, prime ministers, activists that I had such a deep, long-standing respect for. And I was invited to pull up a seat at that table. I was so overwhelmed by this experience. I think I even saved my little place card that said my name on it. It was proof that I was there and proof that I belonged. I wasn't sure I belonged. I was so nervous. I doubted myself and I wondered if I was good enough. I'm not lying. Me, myself, I, me, myself and I. Now, one thing I've got to point out is 2014. She references herself as being young several times and the girl from Suits. 2014, let's do some maths, it's 2022. Meghan is approximately 41 to 45, depending on what you believe or read. But let's just say 41 years old, 8 years ago. So that makes her 33 years old. She wasn't exactly a young up-and-coming actress, was she? She was already on her first or second divorce at that point. You know, she was a mature woman. She was a woman in her 30s. It's just, she's obviously trying to play to the crowd. But for Meghan to be, I was just a young mother, a newlywed. And it's like, not really. I mean, you might have been a mother for the first time, but you weren't like a first-time new blushing bride. But she pauses, and this is where it gets really awkward. And this is where you need to listen to the speech if you can stomach it. Or you just take my word for it. But she does this thing where she's starting to get desperate because no one's applauding. She does pauses in speeches to allow people to clap. And people don't. In fact, people don't really clap until she does that first bit where she talks about becoming a mother, but being a wife, 2019. Well, to be fair, that's possibly the only clap she got because that was when Meghan started being known and people really heard of her. And, you know, the amount of times that she talks about she was philanthropist, a humanitarian from a young age, from when she was 11 years old. Thankfully, she left that bit out. I'm sure she had to rewrite her speech after the backlash from the Cut magazine. But it's the fact that she references everything that she did when she was younger and she's fought for this. But whenever she does a magazine interview or she's on a chat show, What does she talk about? How hard her life was, being part of the royal family for 18 months, 72 engagements, countless holidays, jewels and millions of pounds worth of clothes. Oh, how our heart weeps. Sorry, that was my mini violin if you didn't get that. Now, Harry does luckily get a little look in, you know, she does a little love note, as they're trying to say. This is one of my favourite artists at the moment. You'll see that I use a lot of their drawings in the videos, but it sums it up, including the level of fake tan. But Harry's reference was, I am thrilled that my husband is able to join me here this time to be able to see and witness firsthand my respect for this organisation. Now I take this translation and I'll use this picture of Meghan going, see Harry, that's how you give a speech, not like your crappy UN speech on Mandela's Day where, you know, the auditorium was empty. This is how you do it. I just really think that she absolutely would rejoice in gloating that over him, going, see, this is how it's done, Harry. But as for the speech in itself, when she wasn't talking about herself, she didn't do a speech, thankfully, to do with gender inequality, because it would have been bloody ridiculous on the day that we have in the UK had elected our third ever female Prime Minister, Liz Truss. And it doesn't matter which way your political views are at the end of the day, this is still quite a big thing. So I wonder if Meghan was going to talk about that and again had to scribble her notes out. What can I talk about now? I can't talk about Africa. I can't talk about Mandela. I can't talk about my soap dish commercial. What can I talk about? Mimi, her favourite subject. Seriously, she literally did not give any words of encouragement or advice to the young leaders or, you know, potential leaders that were all in the audience. There wasn't... She's supposed to be a counsellor. Where was the advice or things that they need to do or things to look forward to? She gave like a little piffle bit, and I say piffle, waffle, whatever you want to call it, to do with today is your day, the present, not tomorrow, not yesterday, because yesterday would technically be today if today was yesterday, but tomorrow is you. It's now under the lens of the present. And that's not obviously the words that she chose, but that's all you hear. It's like ding, 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 waffle. It's just the mindless woke word salads that Meghan strings together every single time. If she's not talking about an anecdote or something that she did, she's lost. So with the speech over and the nicely timed Sussex squad being there to scream, "Woo, woo, we love you!" Sorry for anyone if you're a bit pitch sensitive there, but it's the pitch that they scream at. They are now off to Germany for the Invictus Games photo call, or sorry, fashion show or press call. Oh yeah, Harry has actually called a press conference, but the press are not allowed to ask any questions. That's not exactly a press conference, is it? That is Harry talking at them. So they're going to start off their visit to Germany with a nice cruise down the River Rhine on a £13 million party boat. And one can hope it's actually Netflix that have paid for this party boat and not the Invictus Games, because the Invictus Games last year, 30 to 40% of their donations gone. People are just not donating to them anymore. So the problem is Harry and Meghan are so disliked, it does have a knock-on effect to charities, which is very, very sad for the athletes and the families. But let's be honest, the last Invictus Games, I would normally have watched a lot more of it than what I did, because most of the coverage was actually to do with what Meghan was wearing. And that does come down to the Invictus Games. Yes, Harry give a speech, it's his thing, but they made it too much. Let's have Harry and Meghan front and centre. Let's have them riding around in cars. Let's have this. And it was obviously to do with Netflix why they did that, but it kind of ruined the Invictus Games for quite a few people. And also I did happen to read on social media that only 40% of the payment for Heart of Invictus actually went to Invictus. And I'm sorry, I truly honestly think 100% should go to it. Obviously you've got the deduction of overheads and things, but given what it's for and what it's trying to shine a light on, as they like to say, Harry and Meghan shouldn't have taken money from that, because at the end of the day, they've already got their millions and Invictus Games is beginning to struggle. And the longer these two are associated with it and turn it into a fashion show, the more people are going to stop making donations, especially if we see Harry and Meghan living it up on a party boat. You know, it doesn't matter who's paid for it, but unless Netflix come out and say, actually, we did that, it's going to look bad on the Invictus Games. But I tell you what is already looking bad for Harry and Meghan, and I'm sure there are some serious sour grapes going on, is Germany actually said that the government is not going to pay for their police protection because they are there in a private capacity. And for that, I have to say, well done, Germany. And Harry is probably, no doubt, sulking and stropping about that. But given the fact, even throughout his wife's speech, her inspirational speech about herself, Harry already looks like he's been sucking lemons for so long now, we forgot what he looks like when he is happy. So, on that note, guys, I'm off to the gym and I will be back covering more stuff for you and hopefully be with you tomorrow. Take care for now. Bye.
If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.